Welcome, listeners. I have with me today Sam Klau, who is part of the consumeradvocate.org. So, explain to our listeners, what is consumeradvocate.org?
Yeah, consumersadvocate.org is a small company. We're based out of Puerto Rico. We recently moved in the last 3 or 4 years to Puerto Rico. We're originally from the West Coast, Seattle area. And basically what we do is we research different hot topics, different industries, and we just give our opinions on it. We have a group of researchers, a group of writers, a group of people like me that are working with the community as well for outreach. And we basically just spend time reviewing different industries that we think that are, a little bit more gray area, that are not always usually a yes or no easy answer kind of question. We try and go into the pros and the cons, and we try and give very unbiased just opinions on different industries. So.
Okay. So what's the particular one you're promoting for our listeners today?
Yep. So basically, in the last few weeks, we finished a guide on online therapy. So online therapy, we discovered is very, I wouldn't say controversial, but there are a lot of different layers to it. A lot of different therapists right now are calling it almost like telemedicine. A lot of therapists are actually doing their own online therapy themselves as well, freelancing a little bit. But we basically spend time researching about 20 different companies, and we narrowed it down to about 3 or 4 top picks for, our readers. So that's right now what we're kind of going through.
And what are the ones, or the one that you recommend at this point?
Yep. So basically what we did in terms of our research was a lot of us, including myself, we actually went through different sessions with therapists through these companies. And through our experiences, we concluded that Talkspace and BetterHelp were our 2 top picks. Talkspace Better basically was a much cheaper alternative for those that have less of a budget for online therapy, and BetterHelp we just found as the overall favorite for everyone.
Okay. And how would people access these resources?
So typically anyone who is seeking help can just go online and type in betterhelp.com or talkspace.com and go through their questionnaire and their sign-up process. It's about 20-25 minutes, just answering their questions about your background, about kind of what you're going through, about what you're looking for in a therapist, and then the payment process as well. And that's basically how you kind of access it and sign up for the program.
Okay. How do you know that the person you're choosing is properly licensed, trained, has liability insurance, all the things that would be requirements?
Yep. So this is one of the, many layers to the whole industry right now is, this is one of the first questions I recommend a person always ask if they're going to go through the online therapy. Mm-hmm. Basically, I asked, one of my first things is, hey, do you have licensing to be servicing people outside your state, for example? These companies themselves are supposed to be vetting any single therapist that they put out there to give therapy. Mm-hmm. But I think also it's very recommended that you also ask and see kind of what their experiences are, who they've worked with before. If they're going through a very specific, mental issue, mental state, then you should ask if they have experience with what you're kind of going through and what their experience has been like for that. So, but the companies themselves as well, they should be vetting all of their therapists, making sure they do have the proper requirements and certifications for working this type of therapy.
Okay, good. So if somebody chooses someone and it's not a good match, can they withdraw from that one and find someone else?
Absolutely. So my recommendation is if you're unhappy with your therapist, immediately reach out to customer support for each of these companies. They label it on their websites. It should be very easy to access. Sometimes you would have to speak to, one of those 1-800 numbers or through a very generic sign-up. Excuse me. a very generic, servicing page, but someone should be reaching out to you pretty much immediately and trying to help you out through this whole process. But for sure, if right off the bat you don't feel comfortable speaking to your therapist, or if they did something inappropriate or something like that, then you should definitely reach out to customer support for these companies.
Okay. So if you had an official complaint against somebody, you could still go to customer support, or you go to their state licensing board? What's the method?
I would go customer support first, and it's also important for anyone who's going through online therapy to read on the ethics codes for therapists as well, to make sure that you are aware of what a therapist should be asking you, what they shouldn't be asking you, what is in law and what isn't in law. So I think it just goes both ways, and knowing what a therapist should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, and then to be reaching out to the respective company first thing I would do.
Okay, sounds good. So if people want to contact your agency to ask about, other things you research, give them your website, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is consumersadvocate.org. Consumers, CONSUMERS, advocate, ADVOCATE.org. If you want to go directly to our online therapy guide, you can just type in consumersadvocate.org/online-therapy, and all our information is found there. You could also email us directly as well for any questions about our research, and that's all found on our Connect with Us page. But we're super open to sharing and helping out anyone who's going through any questions or is reading our information and enjoys it, or really anything. We're very open to feedback.
Okay, wonderful. So, listeners, please be watching for when this will be updated to my website. So the link will be there so they can go explore this. So thank you very much, Sam, for having this interview with me, and I hope we get lots of people taking the plunge and doing something to help their mental health.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Yeah.
Thank you.